Every one of my records means something. The label, the producer, the year it was made.
Make sure you have the record player on at night.
I think we're finally ready to get started.
Yeah, enough talk about recording.
With the Record Night podcast. Pat St. John is back. His second appearance on the Record Night podcast. So, last time you were here, you introduced us to Radiohead, one of the most famous bands of all time, with their record In Rainbows. So, how you been since?
Good. Listening to a lot of great records, as always.
So, you went, I wasn't sure what you were going to go with for this one, but you went with kind of one I think you alluded to when we asked you what you would bring next time. So, what'd you bring?
I brought Opus Eponymous by Ghosts, their debut album, 2010. Awesome Swedish satanic metal.
Oh God, here we go! Yeah.
Great band. I think if you've never heard Ghosts before, I think it might surprise you a bit. I know when I first listened to Ghosts, because like the whole aesthetic and like the album art and everything, you have kind of an idea of what they're gonna sound like. They're awesome and they're heavy, but you'll be a little surprised, I feel like. So this is their debut album. I was telling Colin earlier. I actually brought their newest album too, but they're pretty different. This one's a lot heavier, and their first album is more like grand, and it's more of like a rock, arena rock album. But yeah, they're awesome. So this album's interesting because at this point they were anonymous. Like they kept all the band members secret. Ooh. And they have this, when they play live, they have the singer dresses up as like this anti-Christ pope, and the rest of them, they all wear like masks and hoods, and they're disciples almost, and it's cool. And so their whole aesthetic here was that they were anonymous. Nobody knew who the band members were and everything. So it's cool. It's the album is a really cool aesthetic, and it's got rough production on it, which is a good thing for it. It's like, it's a little rough around the edges, and I think it lends itself to the album nicely. Yeah,
that sounds like that fits with the aesthetic, like you're talking about, if they're unknown guys and stuff like that. Yeah. Like that kind of works. How did you encounter these characters?
By word of mouth. I know they've gotten somewhat popular the last couple of years, and I'd always heard about them. And then last year I went to Sonic Temple, which is a metal festival in Columbus, and it was System of a Down was the headliner, but Ghost was the they came out before System of a Down, and I was just blown away by them. And their stage show is awesome. They build like this huge like devil church and like on the stage. It's, like
nice.
Watching them play live is like incredible. They put on an incredible live show, and yeah, it's cool. Like so every album there's a new character as like the singer. And at the end of the tour, they get rid of the old character and they have the new one. So like, for their newest album, they had the character who is playing. It's always Papa. That's like the thing. There's Papa 1 for the first album, and then Papa Knell was the newest album. And the lead singer was this guy Cardinal Copia. He was kind of like he was like a disciple of him. And then like he died, and Papa Knell died in the last show, and then the Cardinal Copia became Papa 4. And that's what the new album is going to be. So it's interesting. Wow. So every album is a new character, it's a new look. So that's why every album is kind of is different. And they all have a theme. And so the theme of this one, it's about the conception and birth of the Antichrist. That's what the theme of this album is. So it's interesting. And it's kind of like this impending darkness and doom is coming throughout this whole album. It's great. So it's a cool aesthetic and
nice. Do you guys have any familiarity with Ghost?
No, actually. Definitely heard of them. If you would have told me this record came out in 2010, I didn't think they went that far back. I thought they were kind of like a newer kind of band.
Their sound is interesting too, because they kind of like an old school sound. I always compare them to like sort of Black Sabbath, sort of Blue Oyster Cult type of.
That's a good
type of vibe.
Good indication.
Yeah, and so that's why I always compare it to. So they have a real old school sound, but they've been around for about 10 years. And
yeah, that surprised me. I thought maybe the last 5, maybe.
Yeah,
the last
they've
3.
gotten pretty popular in the last 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, their third album is when they really broke through.
Gotcha.
Now it's just kind of. I'm a big fan of conceptual stuff and like backstories with records and like. So is this kind of par for the course, like in this genre, as far as like, or is this kind of unique as far as like killing off characters and like what, everything you're talking about?
I don't know. I've never heard of a band who kills off their lead singer at the end of everything. So yeah, and it's interesting. So that's why it's cool because they make every album different because it's a new character. It's a new,
So let's go look at the record here. So where'd you actually pick up the vinyl here?
The Exchange in
nice.
Parma Heights.
So yeah, when you were commenting before we started, one of your favorite parts about is the album art. They come strong with the album art.
Yes, they have some of my favorite album art.
Yeah, super
of any
cool.
band.
The old style church. And
Yeah, it's very The style, the production on the record, it's very good, but it's got a really old school feel to it, like with the artwork and stuff. Rise Above Records.
Yeah, I think that was the first record label, and then I think after this album they got signed to, I can't remember. It's a bigger record label they got signed to. But yeah, it was released to Rise Above Records, which I'm not sure if they're Swedish, because the band's from Sweden, so I'm not sure if that's like a Swedish record label.
Well, I don't want to rush into it, but if you guys are ready to spin this record, I think we should do it. All right. Well, we're gonna take a break here on the Record Night Podcast. We'll be right back with Ghost and I guess what's the name of this record?
Opus Eponymous.
Opus Eponymous. Okay.
Is the name of the record.
Okay, Opus Eponymous. I remember now because I was gonna make a joke about like hip hop anonymous. Like so. Opus Eponymous from Ghost next.
That's cool. Purple.
Check this out.
I love it.
I don't know if I've ever seen a purple vinyl before.
I haven't either.
I haven't seen it.
That's my favorite color though.
Uh-oh. Wow. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it is. That was funny we did it at the same time. The night of the witch tonight.
We're back on the Record Night Podcast. We just finished side A of Ghost's Opus Eponymous. I usually have a good idea of like whether or not that it went over well, but I have no idea how that went for everybody. So I'll throw. Let's start with Joe. What'd you think?
I like the actual the music, like the all the instruments, and I like how they add the organ in. I just don't know how I feel about the singer, like his voice.
Yes. Okay. That's kind of a thing for me too.
Like if he growled, I feel like I'd like this better.
Yeah, I was expecting something a little more.
It's kind of
aggressive.
punky. It's a kind of a punky vocal.
Yeah,
I feel
like
like
a Misfits or like I've been trying to like think of like who he reminds me of as a singer.
That's what I was saying. Like it's a little surprise. Like it's a little surprise. It takes you by surprise a little bit when you first.
And even the lyrics are kind of like. I mean, the lyrics themselves are cool, you know. But like the way he sings the lyrics, it's like a ba da 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 da. You know, it's like a repetitive kind of way he sings the lyrics.
It was kind of like it struck me as like humorous a little bit. I'm like, are they going for like humor a little? I don't know, like tongue in cheek kind of metal. I don't know. Like that's the way it came across. I mean, we'll see how the rest of it goes. But I did like it. But yeah, the vocal threw me off.
The music I really enjoyed, like the guitars and the drums and the organ and the whole.
Yeah, I remember the
vibe.
The first time I listened to Ghost, it was like, well, because I saw them live and they had the whole aesthetic. I'm like, okay, and then I hear the vocals and it's like a little.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't hate it. It's just different for the genre, I feel like.
One thing I did notice, I love like the riffs in this a lot. I just wish like. One thing I wish is that they're accompanied by like some more action as far as like the guitar solos and stuff go. There were a few.
Yeah.
But I think like this is like really strong foundationally, and then like it's almost like I'm wanting something more from it.
Yeah.
I can't. I have nothing to criticize because there's nothing I don't like about it. I just wish it's definitely the guitar solo aspect that I'm missing right now.
I feel like kind of what I liked about it was that for one of the songs for Ritual sounded really weird. It sounded like a not weird, just like whoa, like it was just kind of a regular like kind of rock pop kind of open or so. I don't know. It was the open kind of surprised me, but nice smooth guitar work. I kind of like that. Yeah, the guitar work is just good. It's not. I don't know. It's not over the top. I feel like
they had nice transitions too between like the bridge and the verses and the pre-choruses and stuff. Like they were just doing different things with the transitions, and then a lot of their solos were really nice too. Like their outros or intros into songs. Yeah, you know, those were nice too.
The choruses are good too. I mean, even me and Colin, like right when that ended, me and Colin at the same point, we were just like, "Not of the way."
Yeah. I mean, he knows how to write a catchy hook.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, it's definitely true. But do you have anything before? I mean, we'll move on to side B and finish up the record. But do you have anything on the first side, Pat? I mean, just like. It seems to be pretty par for the course, like conceptually, as far as like what the lyrical content and stuff, as far as like metal is concerned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think so. Yeah, and it's it's all very like satanic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything.
I love the subject matter. Like.
Yeah, subject matter is cool.
Just like the like the stories I was reading in Genius, like the stories behind the stuff, like the queen who bathed in virgin blood.
That's been my favorite song so far. The Elizabeth. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the album just has a cool aesthetic, like the instrumentals and everything, and I one thing I love about this, I love the drums, the drum sound on this. On this album, it's great.
Yeah, what do you mean by like you said the rough production on this record? Like, what do you mean? Like, just not a lot to it? Like,
yeah, it was just it's not overly produced. It's most of the like the guitars are there's like a crunchy guitar,
Yeah, I like we have the album artwork here, like the cover of it, and it's kind of like there's like a storm sort of happening here. Like obviously, like we have the lead character Papa, whatever Papa this is,
Papa Shango.
I love this too. Like in the where we got the lyrics pulled up on Genius, and so like all the members of the band are nameless. They're either earth.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Air, water.
If you look at the
nameless school,
the lyrics here at the bottom, it says performed by Ghosts. All songs written by a nameless ghoul. That's what they all say.
That's cool.
Like the difference is like you said earth, wind, fire, aether.
Yeah.
Oh, ether. Yeah.
I don't even know what aether is. What is aether? Like dead people power?
I have no idea.
It was in a video game I played. It's called Aether. It's like one of the elements you can like channel.
I love the commitment to the aesthetic and everything here. Like even in the credits, they're not credited. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. I think my favorite song on side A is Ritual. I love
okay.
Ritual.
Yeah, that was the one I liked that one and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, what I was gonna say, like about the cover here, like we have like it's kind of stormy, and they're just I don't know, it's typical in metal, I guess, but they're sticking to it. Like Elizabeth had like the I really like the instrumental bridge, and Elizabeth had a real echoey kind of guitar. I just feel like it fit, and yeah, again, they're not overdoing it. I think it's good. It's good guitar work, but I get what you're saying about like it maybe
you want that shocking aspect of what they're talking about to come through, and I think the instrumentals too.
Yeah.
But I like it a lot.
Yeah.
For a metal album, it's a little groovy.
Yeah, for sure.
Those bass lines, they're groovy.
Yes, they are. I was gonna say, like, it's very much a continuation of like the Sabbath sound.
Yeah,
for sure. That's like.
I could definitely pick up.
I wrote that down for Ritual. Sabbath. I was like, okay,
and maybe
Sabbath,
it's just because of like I have so much exposure to like more new metal like type sound. You're looking for that, but like when you compare it to what was there back then, it's like whoa, like.
True.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
It's not too far off from what was like being played back then.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Let's spin the B-side and go from there. Satan Prayer.
Yes. Yes.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go. Papa, Father. The riffs, dude. I'm telling you. Ooh.
Here I'll say a prayer. Our time to see you creep. Here I'll say a prayer for the coming of sea. Here I'll say a prayer. Our time to see you creep. Here I'll say a prayer.
Wow. Maybe my favorite so far.
This is probably my favorite song.
Come on, let's fucking go.
So this is the last track. Genius shows there's another one, but that's like
Okay.
it's a bonus track on the CD version.
kind of feel the same way. I like the B-side better, but I kind of feel
Yeah.
the same way as I did about the first side in terms of it was. I myself liked it a lot, but it was, again, it's just kind of it's weird. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like so, Joe.
Yeah, I think maybe the A side helped me enjoy the B side better because I know like vocally like what, and I feel like on the first two songs, Satan Prayer and Death. How do you say that? Death Knell.
Death now.
Death
Yeah.
Knell. His vocals fit a lot better in those two songs.
Yeah, I agree.
I think so too.
So yeah, definitely like the B side better. But throughout the instruments, I mean, shout out to the Nameless Ghouls. I mean,
Absolutely.
So a little more background, I guess. So there was like a lawsuit a couple years ago, and the guy, his identity was revealed. The guy who did it, and so now there's dispute. So he said that he wrote all the music for it. All they had was a session drummer and a session bassist for this whole album. And like he did everything else.
Oh, I
The
see.
singer, like the Tobias Forge is his name. He's the singer.
So,
Yeah, so that-
the
he,
other,
he writes all the music.
so the other bandmates like sued him or something.
Yeah, because they had like a live band that played with them, and there was like a dispute. It was like a royalty dispute. But yeah, like and so some of the old band members say like they played on it, but the singer says that he just played all the instruments on the first album. So there's like a debate whether like,
But then like who knows? Because they're all nameless, so like
Yeah.
you don't know.
yeah, but he wrote
Right.
all of it. But it was mostly just session musicians.
Yeah, come on, Nameless Schools, kayfabe here. We can't
Yeah.
be suing this guy and
Yeah.
revealing the whole thing.
Yeah.
Jake.
I definitely like side B. I think better than side A. I definitely picked up on some sick, like the bass a little more
Yeah.
on side
Oh,
B.
yeah.
Prime Mover.
Yes.
Yeah, that
That's
song
where I
that song
put
was
it.
for you.
Yeah.
And I also put like for like Prime Mover, because it was weird. Because on track 5, some of my notes was like, I really like this. Like I said before, it's just missing something. It's missing
Yeah.
a layer. And then Prime Mover hit, and they added. You could
Yeah.
tell they added that layer, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like this is what I want. Like I really love Prime Mover. That was probably like my favorite track. 8 was, Genesis was really fucking good too.
Yeah.
Like 7 and 8, it makes you realize like this whole album is like
It
builds up.
Yeah, because the whole concept is that you're building to the birth
birth
of the Antichrist,
Antichrist.
and the whole album is this impending doom up until like, and that's when it's Prime Mover and Genesis. That's
Right.
the birth of the Antichrist. Yeah,
Yeah, so what this side started with Satan Prayer, I believe.
Yeah.
yeah,
That was good. That was another one. A lot of the guitar work on here. It was a very smooth kind of less is more. I feel like kind of at least for the genre, is kind of
Yeah.
what I got.
Because definitely in this genre they could go with the crazy solos,
you know what I
and
mean?
super
And
loud.
It was
and,
there, you know. Like I definitely heard. It was reminiscent of other metal and stuff. But that's why I liked. I enjoyed this record because it's not full metal. Like
No.
they're blending some different elements here, so it was a nice. I don't know.
Yeah, there wasn't anything on this album instrumentally that was just too over the top and,
Overwhelming,
and overwhelming.
Yeah.
You know?
It was very like folky, as in not like folk music like folk music like Skyrim folk, like the guy with the lute,
Yeah.
like telling the tale. You know
And
what I mean?
Oh,
that's
okay.
what I was
Yeah.
talking more about the production of this record. Like that's like nothing's over the top or overdone. Everything, you know.
Mhm. They stay in their lane very well.
Yeah.
They don't go outside of it. That last song with that little acoustic thing at the end,
I
that
really
was
like
that was a little different. That was nice.
Yeah,
that was a nice
cool.
way to end it. I like how they started with an instrumental and they ended with an instrumental. That's interesting.
Nice
Have they done that on any other albums? Can you think of?
No, because they've had other albums that start with instrumentals, but not
End.
with an
Okay.
instrumental. Yeah.
I think that's a cool. I like that. I'm trying to think if we listen to any other albums that have done that, started and ended. I don't think so.
Yeah,
It's
no.
either one or the other.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could think of a few like comparable kind of. Oh, the beginning had this and the end had this, but yeah, not
Right.
like instrumentals on to
Right.
bookend it.
You know what I was thinking too, like for this, like instead of a different, like an extra layer, like one aspect of one piece of what they have going out right now being a little more elevated above the rest. Like I feel like if they took this and they like turned up the guitars or they turned up the bass, just one of the instrument, like just to give you something to latch onto. I was thinking too, like the vocals, like I was thinking of like Iron Maiden lead vocalist on this would be fucking amazing. I like the lead vocalist.
Yeah,
He's good.
it's he's got like a spooky vibe. To,
Yeah,
like,
it
the
does.
vocals.
It's all
Yeah.
very like
That's a
subdued.
good
Very.
point.
I used the word ghostly before, like
Yeah.
very ghostly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting that you say that about like the like turning one of the instruments up on their later albums. It's very they're kind of synth like their newest album. It's very synthy. There's like that's like the one of the big instruments in their newest albums. It's a lot of synth and everything. It's a bit more groovy than this one.
Well, when the keyboard kicked in too, I forget which song it was when that keyboard was playing
It
that
was,
crazy.
Satan Prayer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Saint Prayer. We
Yeah.
all were like, okay, like yeah,
Oh,
like,
wow, that's cool.
and I think that's like why, because it just that's that missing element. So, but I still appreciate like what they're going for because the last two songs had that. Like, I love the last two songs like a lot, but it's kind of like the whole picture came together for 7 and 8. But
Yeah, it was like Prime Mover is such an awesome track. That just that bass part is just
Yeah.
incredible.
It's super
Yeah.
raw. It's super
Yeah.
like how you said, like the production is just super, just
It's a little rough.
basement floor,
Yeah.
kind of just rough.
And I think that helps. I think that helps this album.
It
too,
definitely
is that
helped
production.
that song for sure.
Yeah.
That Prime Mover song.
Well, after Satan Prayer, we had Death Knell, and although again, this album wasn't overproduced by any means, but this was a cool song production-wise, where there was interaction between like there's bells
Yeah,
and
the
like
doom.
interacting
Yeah.
with the lyrics
Yeah.
and stuff like
That
that.
was
It
a
was a
cool
really cool
song.
song.
Did this have like the thunder in the beginning too, or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
it made me
that-
think of the Undertaker's
Yeah,
entrance.
I
Black
love-
Sabbath.
I think-
Black Sabbath.
Yeah,
Starts
I think
with the thunder.
Death Knell has one of my favorite vocal parts. That chorus when he, in this song is just great. I think his vocals are so great because that's the first time he's like belted out like something. The whole album was during the chorus.
I was waiting for that. I was
That-
waiting for
yeah.
him to go. It's kind of like with you with Silverson pickups, how you're like, I know he can go to like this
Yeah.
other level,
Right.
but he kind of keeps it like in this one like tone. And I was waiting for that him because that's how metal music
Yeah.
usually is. They usually screaming their fucking brains out. And that's what I was waiting for, and then you get a little taste of it in that song there.
All right, we've got to get to a break here on the Record Night Podcast, but we'll be right back and we'll wrap it up. All right, we're back on the Record Night Podcast. So we're just kind of finishing up this Ghost record, Hip Hop Anonymous. No, what is it called? Opus
Opus
Eponymous.
Eponymous.
Opus Eponymous. But yeah, so we kind of, I had just finished up talking about the song Death Knell, and the way I enjoyed how the production wise kind of there was thunder and like the bell tolling interacting with the lyrics and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You guys have anything on that song before we move to Prime Mover?
This was another song where I thought the vocals fit a lot better than maybe like the A side.
Death Knell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep. Satan's Prayer and Death Knell, I thought his vocals were perfect for these two songs. And like you said, with the thunder and the bells, that all adds into the whole eeriness, the whole like creepy, satanic kind of vibe to it.
Yeah. Generally, what do you guys make like
The
of
lyrical style?
Well, just this content in general of like Satan worship and stuff like.
Whatever. It's fun.
Well, yeah. That's how I view it. It's fun, but
It's interesting. Like it's like cool because
There's like all this lore behind it.
yeah, it's cool. Like it's a lot of this, all the songs. It's a very it's very creepy. It's it's cool. Like it's just an interesting concept.
yeah.
Yeah. I like it every once in a while. I mean, I don't know if I could listen to these kind of lyrics like over and over and
Well-
over. I don't know what that would do to a person. You know?
I know we've talked about like listening to
It'll make you a better person.
listening to metal in we've talked about like when it came up with like Insomnia, I'm like listening to this would you listen to this in the car? Would you listen to this casually? This definitely fits that bill. Like where I feel like a lot of metal music is kind of weird. I mean, metalheads of course would listen
Yeah.
to it whenever, but
So it's interesting on their later albums. They still have like the general theme of like the the satanic theme, but it's not as like this album. It's very like they kind of
Oh,
they
yeah,
hit
they
you over
go
the head with
all
it, but, like,
in.
It's all in, but like their later albums, it's like it's the general theme, but it's more they explore more concepts
Okay.
and everything. So it's interesting. So like this album, they
I feel like
full force into
only
it.
in one song in this album did they kind of get away from that, and even in that song, it was that "Stand by Him" song.
Yeah.
They kind of get away from the whole. To me, that was just more of like
was
kind
a
of like a love song almost, but like but in their way.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, in that context and everything. Yeah, I feel like that's probably a good way to start if they did, because what it reminds me of is you saying like they drifted to other themes and stuff with the later records. Is that reminds me of like Sturgill Simpson. Like Sturgill Simpson started with a real just country record. You know what I mean, like that, and then he kind of went from there. But it's good to like establish kind of your
and,
base.
like, so
I
each
guess.
album, they're all part of one big story. Their whole album.
I
So,
love that.
like,
Okay.
their second album is about like the Antichrist on Earth. Like,
okay.
And then their third album is more like futuristic, and it's less about like the Antichrist. It's more about like the world without a God. And it's interesting. Like, So it's more. So that's their third album is awesome.
And you said that's when they started getting really popular with that one.
Yeah, and then
Interesting.
their newest one, prequel, which I have, it's all about like the Black Plague and everything, and how and they it's a general theme, like they hint at like Satan and the devil's behind like the Black Plague that's killing all of Europe and everything. So
Coronavirus.
but it's but they it's not as like full front with the satanic theme, but it's still there. But
Yeah.
This album definitely is like that's like every
Full
song.
on. Yeah.
There was this weird. His vocals are what interests me, I think, the most in this
Yes.
record.
Yeah.
100%.
And I was trying to place like it's some weird cross between like power metal and doom. Like it's like he took that and he found like the midpoint. Like he strays in those directions, but he won't go. And like I think that's what helps it. I think that's what gives it that ghostly element.
Some songs on the A side, I even got almost like he would fit like in some like 80s band, like Asia
Yeah,
or like one of those bands like from the 80s.
The chorus is very much on A side or very like 80s. It's like this could be in an 80s pop song.
the A side like
maybe not the lyrics, but
Well,
yeah.
the notes and the style.
in the beginning, the vocal, I was kind of feeling like the first couple songs had me feeling like, is this like a tongue-in-cheek metal band? Like it was like I said, it was kind of humorous, like to me, but it was just it was the vocal. It kind of reminded me, what's that band? Is it like where it's really funny, like punk music, where it's like the guy's just basically talking.
The one that me and Joe were talking about. Suicidal Tendencies.
Suicidal Tendencies.
Oh, okay.
That's what it reminded me of a little bit. That's why I was.
Yeah, those kind of like the Misfits was because they even talk about like satanic kind of stuff too.
Well, but then as we said, once we got to the B side, it fit more. Like I was like, okay, and then it made sense. But yeah,
They definitely got more into their groove on the B side. The whole B side was really good.
Yeah, so Prime Mover was the song right before the Genesis, the instrumental. With not saying anything about the song, it features the lyric of varicose phallus, which, that might be my favorite lyric ever. Just out of context.
Was that a veiny penis?
Very, vivid imagery and fun way of saying it.
It's the devil's penis. It's gotta be.
Yeah, so that song is actually about like the conception of the Antichrist.
Yeah.
Wow, so they went like super vulgar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
That's
one
funny.
jumped out at me right away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't write anything. I was so distracted by that. I didn't write anything else down about Prime Mover. But I enjoyed that song very much.
That was the one that opens with a really cool bass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jake.
Raw, super
Come
raw
on.
bass. That was really cool.
But then, yeah. So then the last song, Genesis. What the open of that song? Again, this is where Ghost is interesting, like introducing kind of different. Like they're not totally metal. Like it was I don't know. I forget what the beginning was, but it was
like a synth.
Yeah, right,
synth,
right. Yeah, it was just like, what's, and then eventually, and then it gets metal, but you're like, what is this song gonna sound like,
And then it ends on acoustic.
Yeah.
Right.
They kind of
right.
hit you with an acoustic guitar. Like there's no acoustic guitar.
You could
anywhere
tell
else
right
in
away
the
that's like
record.
where Satan's born.
Yeah,
is when the
that's
acoustic hits. Like he's left the womb.
Yep.
And there's that like newborn.
Yeah.
It's dark still, but there's
Yeah.
that like innocent
'Cause
newborn vibe to it.
That's what that song is about. That song is about the,
I
the
felt
birth
that.
of the Antichrist.
That makes
That's what it
sense,
is.
dude. Because like if you think of like just birth in general, it's like intense, right? Ah, ah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
baby. You know, like it
But
kind of
the acoustic has this spooky vibe to it, where it's
Yeah.
like it's cute and like it's a newborn baby, but like
It's-
he's
it-
the motherfucking Antichrist.
It's kind of
He's about to fuck shit
it's,
up.
It's kind of genius in that way. Like I said, the whole like you were talking about before, the whole record is built up to like those two songs almost.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, well, hey, I liked it, man. I definitely want to hear more Ghost. I mean, I feel like I can just kind of keep going for a couple another records. You're like,
Yeah,
I want to
You're
get
so
more.
curious about
Yes.
it. I'm very
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah, like it
And-
just
and
leaves me wanting
The interesting
more.
thing too about wanting more, like this album it's only 34 minutes. It's a relatively
Yeah.
short record.
I was gonna
was
compliment the
very short.
runtime too. I
Yeah.
do enjoy shorter records.
I always
in
think about I agree. I always think I would rather, as a listener, I would rather want more than
Be
to
finished with like, all right, hurry up.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather want more than to be like, you know, that I would take
Okay, I
that
get
song
it.
out. Yeah, exactly. That's why I love short records. You know.
Yeah, it's kind of it's old school. I feel like
Yeah.
anymore. We've talked about it before. Artists writing records for vinyl versus not. You know, and so if you're not constricted by any. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, the runtime doesn't matter. It can be whatever
Right.
you want. You know?
right. Well, hey man, like I said, I'm a huge fan. So you did you just pick up this record and their next record? Is that what
Their
you?
No,
newest one.
Their newest
Yeah.
one. Okay.
Yeah, I just bought both of them. I've listened to this album so many times. I absolutely.
Is that it? This one and their newest one, or are there in between?
No, they have
No,
ones in
So
between.
they have two. No, they have two in between. So they have an album after that, and then another one.
They
and
have
then their
four
newest one.
records.
Yeah, they have four albums, and they have a couple EPs that are really cool.
Oh, before this first one or
No, after.
after?
They have an EP called Pope Star, and it was voted the best metal song of the decade. There's a song Square Hammer on it. It's like it's awesome. Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow, that's
yeah,
that is quite a.
it was the best metal song of the 2010s. I forget what
Wow.
it was. One of the big like metal publications, like websites.
Like
I can't remember the
not
name.
Livewire, but there's something wire
Yeah, something. Yeah,
It's
one of them.
LimeWire.
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 LimeWire, yeah.
Yeah, they're still around.
As
Yeah.
an IT like student, it's like just boils me. Like,
You-
yeah,
you know-
lime,
you know,
malware tool.
You know, eventually they're gonna bring LimeWire back as like a streaming service or something.
Oh,
You know what I
I
mean?
hope
Yeah.
Because Napster still exists as like a streaming service.
How?
Do they really?
I think
Like,
I think they
people who are
start,
like 40. Hey, this is Napster.
they pay artists more than any other streaming service.
Hey, that's one way to do it.
There you go.
Because then the artists the artist will advertise for you
Yeah.
if you
yeah,
give them enough
Oh, yeah.
royalties.
Oh yeah. And Spotify gives you nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing.
fuck
Like
Spotify.
pennies, less than pennies
than
on the
penny,
yeah.
yeah. And it's interesting on Spotify too. You only get I think it's after a minute and a half or a minute and 45 seconds is when you that's where you get paid, the first minute and 45. So after that it's just so like I was talking before about that Microphones album. It's 1 45-minute song. He didn't release on Spotify. He's like, I'm not gonna get paid.
Right,
I'm not
yeah.
gonna get paid for it
Mhm.
because like, you only make money after the first minute and a half.
It makes sense.
It's like, what's the point of releasing the other 43 minutes of that song? You know?
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Well, Pat, it was nice having you again.
Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah.
Love to come back.
Yeah. Anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I think I might like to hear more Ghost. Have you considered it other directions? Was there any other consideration besides Ghost for this?
Yeah.
Or-
I almost brought Animals by Pink Floyd because that's how I listened to it lately. Because that's like maybe my all-time favorite record is Animals.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. That album is just incredible.
yeah,
but-
we'll definitely have to get to that.
Yeah. I have the original vinyl because my dad has like a big record
Oh,
collection. Has, like,
cool.
and he has like the original 1977 like vinyl.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, because like it's in print again. I think it's remastered.
Sure, they've
I think it's, like,
been doing that a
remastered, but
lot
It's
lately.
nice listening to like the old.
Yeah.
Why are the remasters like all shitty?
No,
Like
they're fine.
I for the most
Oh.
I think I've listened to like a few. Speaking of like metal like music, I listened to like a few Megadeth like remastered shit, and I did not like it as well as the old shit.
I haven't listened to any of the remastered.
Yeah, they did like.
Why not?
Why haven't you? Why don't I like it?
Yeah, what's different about it?
Because
I don't understand.
You were mentioning like the production like lends itself like to the music,
Yeah.
and sometimes when you get like they cleaned everything up, and it's like, dude, it's not the same.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
yeah. Because some of those Megadeth albums are are rough.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they're heavy. You know. Yeah, I feel like you can't overproduce something like that. That's why their new albums aren't as good because they're just kind of overproduced.
Yeah, I got Rust in Peace waiting in the cut.
Rest in Peace is awesome. Rest in Peace is so great.
Well, let's wrap this record end up. Pat, you're welcome back anytime, either for more Ghost or Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd would be awesome.
Pink Floyd would be great.
So we look forward to that. But until then, and unless I have Cosmic Country next week, we're gonna toss it to Jake
Okay.
as far as the record. So
I got so many.
I know.
I bought
Yeah,
so
I'm
many
excited.
records.
I'm excited for a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that Jake's gonna be bringing.
Yeah, Joe went on a rampage kind of a little while back, and then Jake's on a rampage as we speak, buying records. So
Right.
we don't know what he's gonna bring. It could be anything. Let's just hope it's not a jazz record. But.
Ah,
All right, this
I
has
got
been
a few more. Come on, boys. No, I'm joking.
Keep them at home.
all right. This has been Record. Thank you.
All right, thanks for joining us.
Fish?
Yeah.
Pony?
Yes.
Hip? Hip hop? Hip hop anonymous?
Damn you! You gave him the easy ones!
How about that Record Night podcast?